The vinyl record you see may look simple, but its manufacturing process is anything but simple. Behind those black discs lies a complex, precise journey filled with both art and technology. A long journey with multiple stages, each requiring extreme precision, an expert eye, and an ear that hears what others cannot. In this video, we'll reveal the secrets of this fascinating industry, and you'll witness every step of how vinyl records are made. But before we begin, don't forget to subscribe to the channel and turn on the notification bell to stay updated with more exciting and entertaining videos we present. Before CDs existed, and long before we ever heard of MP3 files, the world relied on just one thing to listen to music: vinyl records. In 1887, Emil Berliner invented the first flat audio disc. It was made from materials different than vinyl, but the concept itself was revolutionary at the time. That moment marked the beginning of the golden age of vinyl records. Back then, a vinyl record was a cultural symbol and a source of joy in homes, cafes, and radio stations. The beautiful music that comes from a vinyl record doesn't happen easily. Rather, it is the result of a precise journey full of details that no one knows anything about. Every single part is calculated with great precision, because even the smallest detail makes a difference in sound, and even the tiniest mistake can ruin the final outcome, something the company is always keen to avoid. The stages of producing vinyl records do not begin with importing raw materials or even manufacturing them like other products. In the case of this industry, the stages begin with recording sound before even thinking about the raw materials. This journey begins inside the studio, where musicians gather, instruments are tuned, microphones are set up, and the performers give their best in a soundproof environment to ensure audio clarity. But it doesn't stop at the performance. Right after comes the recording. This is where the sound engineer steps in, mixing the various audio tracks in a process known as mixing. During mixing, the audio balance between instruments is adjusted, and any imperfections are removed to enhance the final result. Then comes the most important step: mastering. Mastering prepares the final version of the audio, making it ready to be printed on vinyl. Here, the sound is fine-tuned to suit the characteristics of vinyl, frequency and volume levels are adjusted, and the beginning and end of each side of the record are defined. After recording the sound and ensuring it is of the best possible quality, the factory engraves the master record. And here, the music moves from the digital world to the physical world. This transformation takes place during the master disc cutting stage. Here, the sound is transferred onto a special disc called a lacquer, a flat disc coated with a soft layer of lacquer. It closely resembles a vinyl record in appearance, but isn't usable yet. The prepared audio is played, and at the same moment, an ultra-precise cutting stylus begins to engrave the sound waves onto the surface of the lacquer. These microgrooves represent the sound vibrations with stunning accuracy. The grooves are cut in a continuous spiral line, from the outer edge toward the center, with careful attention to depth, shape, and spacing to match the music's characteristics. This process is performed using a precise machine, without any human intervention. Now, the master disc is ready to be painted and ready to be copied and to extract from thousands of copies. This phase is essential for translating the fragile master into a form capable of enduring the rigors of mass production. The lacquer master, though perfectly engraved with all the fine audio grooves, is inherently soft and vulnerable, too delicate to be used repeatedly for pressing records. To preserve the fidelity of the original recording and enable high-volume replication, it must first be converted into a robust, reusable metal counterpart. The transformation begins with a chemical step known as silvering, in which the surface of the master disc is coated with a microscopically thin layer of silver. This conductive layer is necessary to prepare it for electroplating. Once silvered, the disc is carefully submerged in an electroplating bath filled with a nickel solution. Using a controlled electrical current, nickel is gradually deposited onto the silvered surface in a process called electrolysis. Over time, this builds up a solid metal shell that mirrors every groove, ridge, and detail of the original master with microscopic accuracy. This newly formed nickel layer, commonly referred to as the metal master or father, is then carefully separated from the original lacquer. It serves as the first mold in the duplication chain. Depending on production needs, additional generations may follow. Mothers can be formed from the father, and stampers, The final molds used for pressing vinyl can be made from the mothers. This hierarchy ensures that the original master remains preserved while allowing for large-scale production of identical records with consistent quality. By the end of this stage, a durable metal mold system is in place, ready for the high-pressure environment of the pressing machines in the next phase. After obtaining the mold and assembling the raw materials, the factory had only one step left to complete to produce vinyl records: compressing the sound and converting it into real records. This is where the pressing machine comes in, a large machine resembling a heat press. The process begins with preparing the raw vinyl material, usually a black plastic compound which is heated until it becomes moldable. It's then shaped into a small disc called a biscuit or puck. This disc is placed between the two halves of the metal mold, one for each side of the record. At the moment of pressing, the machine closes with enormous force, compressing the vinyl material to match the mold exactly. This is where the sound is imprinted. At this point, the paper label is inserted in the center of the record on both sides, simultaneously with the pressing. Once the vinyl is pressed under heat and pressure, the label automatically fuses with the record and stays firmly attached without any glue or adhesive. Within a few seconds, the machine opens and a new record emerges. But it's still hot and must be cooled before it's ready for use. Once a freshly pressed vinyl record is released from the high-pressure hydraulic press, it emerges in a semi-molten state, hot, pliable, and highly susceptible to deformation. At this point, the record's audio grooves are formed, but not yet fully fixed. Any delay or mishandling could result in warping or groove distortion, compromising playback quality. Therefore, the cooling stage is initiated immediately to stabilize the disc and preserve the integrity of the sound encoding. The hot record is carefully transferred from the press to a temperature-controlled environment specifically designed to regulate cooling speed. This area is typically equipped with flat cooling surfaces or racks that allow the disc to lie evenly and maintain its shape as it cools. The vinyl must cool at a controlled rate. Too fast, and internal stress can develop within the disc material. Too slow, and production efficiency is compromised. The goal is to bring the temperature down gradually and uniformly until the vinyl hardens completely, and the grooves, carrying the delicate sound information, are permanently locked in with maximum precision. Once the disc has cooled and solidified to its final form, it undergoes a trimming process. During pressing, excess vinyl, known as flash, is squeezed out around the edges of the mold. This surplus material must be removed to ensure a clean, professional finish. The record is placed into a specialized edge trimming machine, where a high-speed rotating blade trims the circumference to the exact diameter, typically 12 inches for LPs, producing a perfectly round disc with smooth, consistent edges. The final step in this phase involves a thorough quality inspection. Each cooled and trimmed record is examined for visual and structural defects, such as uneven edges, surface blemishes, or signs of warping. This inspection is conducted both manually by trained technicians and automatically using precision sensors and cameras. Any disc that fails to meet the standards is removed from the batch to prevent flawed playback. By the end of this stage, the vinyl record has transitioned from a fragile, malleable form into a stable and fully formed physical product, one that's nearly ready to be packaged, labeled, and eventually enjoyed on turntables around the world. But the most important test is the sound test. A random sample of records is played on specialized turntables. A trained technician listens closely for any unnatural noise, distortion, or audio dropouts. If any issues are found, the record is reviewed and may be discarded if it can't be improved. If errors appear in multiple copies, the factory may have no choice but to discard the entire mold. In vinyl record production, quality isn't just a bonus, it's a necessity. Every record represents the full artistic work and manufacturing craftsmanship, and it directly reaches the listener's ear. There's no room for compromise at this stage. Every copy that passes through must be flawless. With this, the vinyl records have reached the end of their journey, and the factory workers will eventually package and distribute them to consumers around the world. This is when the product transforms from a raw sound carrier into a complete artistic experience presented to the listener. First, the record is placed in an inner sleeve, usually made of paper or plastic, to protect it from dust and scratches. Then it's inserted into the outer sleeve, the one we see and touch as consumers, which often features the album title, artist's name, and release information. Some companies also add extras like stickers, small booklets with lyrics, or messages from the artist. After packaging, the records are packed into custom boxes for shipping, ensuring they stay upright during transit to avoid warping or damage. Finally, the distribution journey begins, whether to stores, warehouses, or directly to customers through online sales. At this point, everything is complete, and the vinyl record, which started as a simple musical track, is ready to spin on turntables and deliver sound as you've never heard it before. From the moment the sound is recorded to the moment the needle touches the spinning vinyl, this small object undergoes a long journey, full of precision, artistry, and skilled craftsmanship. It's not just a piece of plastic. It's the product of dozens of hands and minds working with dedication to give us a unique audio experience, full of depth, warmth, and emotion that no modern technology can replicate. The vinyl record may seem like a relic of the past, but in reality, it's a reflection of a living craft where details are honored and quality is cherished. In a fast-paced world, vinyl offers a space to slow down, to listen carefully, and to enjoy art in its purest form. So next time you drop the needle onto a record, remember the precise stages and great effort behind that sound. Now it's your turn. Join us in the comments. Share your memories with vinyl records. Do you still use them? Do you still enjoy the music they produce? And don't forget to share this video with your music-loving friends who can't go a day without tuning in.